6 weeks before our story begins, my trust was unbroken, my heart intact. In college, I met Julie. Our love was a beacon of hope, a promise of a future bright. Yet the facade cracked at a party where whispers in the shadows and a glance not meant for me sowed seeds of doubt. "Julie," I asked later, confronting her, only to be met with evasion. "It's not what you think," she whispered, a lie so frail against the weight of her betrayal. As the silence stretched between us, I found myself asking, "Then what is it, Julie? Can love truly masquerade as something so cruel?" This is the tale of how my world unraveled. Enjoy watching it. My name's Tom Parker, and up until a bit ago I was blind to who my wife really was. Yep, loved her once now, not anymore. I'm about to make her regret fooling me. I should have seen the signs after our Halloween party with friends. That night she came on to me, something she never does. She was all over me like she hadn't been in 20 years. At first I thought she was just a bit tipsy but happy. I hoped it would keep up, but it didn't. Come December, she cooled off, and by Valentine's Day she was annoyed at me for wanting her too much. I blamed myself for missing the signs, but they were there. At a summer barbecue, that's when it clicked. My wife Julie wanted to dress sexy. She was 55, not heavy, with bright red hair. She looked stunning in her outfit, but the moment that opened my eyes was when she walked in after vanishing for a while, looking too calm. It hit me then that the New Year's sex must have been guilt. Her new extra hours at the animal shelter where she worked, the way she seemed distant, the lack of interest in me. So who was it? I couldn't tell, but I decided to dig deeper before confronting her. Julie and I are from different worlds. She's from the East Coast, me from Ohio. We met in college at Ohio State University, not the big Ivy League, but a large state school in Ohio. I was raised in a small town filled with German heritage folks. Julie was from New York, much more liberal than my background. She ended up in Ohio because her folks who met there wanted her to experience some Midwest values. We first met in the library. She was struggling with math and asking for a Math for Dummies book. I've always been good at math, so when I heard her, I had to help. She looked frustrated when the librarian said the book was checked out. I walked over, introduced myself, and offered to help her with algebra. She looked at me funny, but agreed. I joked about being her knight, which made her laugh. She was Julie, I was Tom. We made a deal. If I helped her pass, she'd owe me pizza. But not just any pizza. It had to be from Tony's Pizzeria, a well-known place in town. From there, well, things took off. But now I'm here, writing huge checks to charities, including one we both supported, the Red Cross, trying to find some peace and maybe shake things up for Julie, who'd blindsided me with a side I never knew. In Columbus, Ohio, I made a bet. "If you get a C on your test, what's in it for me?" I asked. "A kiss after dinner," she replied. "And what about an A? I was hoping for a real date." "Help me with that and I'll let the girls out," she said, her hand still on her chest. My eyes must have popped because she laughed. "Get me an A and you can have whatever you want," she added. She didn't trust in her learning skills or my teaching. That's some deal, I thought. We needed a quiet place to study, so into my car we went, heading to Denny's. We took a booth. I got us nachos and told the waitress we'd stay for hours, but it'd tip well. Julie really struggled with math, especially algebra. She couldn't see how letters stood in for numbers, so I began with the basics. 3, 4 equals? She got that. 7, she answered. "Okay," I said, "imagine the letters as spaces." "Why?" she wondered. "Because every space can have a different value. We use letters to tell them apart," I explained. 3, 4 equals, I wrote down. "Think of A as the space we talked about, so what's A in this case?" 7, she said. "Okay, 3B equals 7, I wrote. "What's B?" 4, she replied. "We use different letters for different values. Here's another 3x6, I wrote. "What's X?" She mistakenly said, "X is 2, mixing up the symbols." We worked through multiplication and division using letters and numbers. Slowly, she began to understand. We stayed until the early morning. By 10, she had her class. I told her to sleep well, don't cram last minute. She thanked me with a cheek kiss and hinted at hoping for an A with a playful look. I wondered, did she mean what I think? Couldn't wait to hear how she did. I didn't get everything promised, but I got pizza and kisses, and things seemed to hint at more. Eventually, she did get an A, and we became a thing. Summer was nearing, and I needed an internship. I hoped for Southern California to stay close to her, but ended up in San Diego at a tech company. It was a drive away, so weekends were our time. I met her family. They seemed to like me. Happy I'd settled their girl. We cherished our weekends together. Back at college, we both hit the books hard. We discussed futures. I dreamed of a big family, but she was into zero population growth. We settled on hoping for just 2 kids. Dream houses were up for debate, too. I wanted something humble. She dreamed bigger. Guess I'd need a good job. We wanted different things from life. She had causes she cared about that didn't quite align with my views, but we agreed to disagree. By senior year, I landed a job in Texas, thanks to my internship. A big move awaited. On the drive back from my final interview, I planned it all, propose to Julie, help her find a job nearby, and start our life in the suburbs of Houston. I pictured our future life vividly: married, a home, kids, and all the joys and chaos of a family. After the kids went off to college, we planned to start seeing the world. On my way back home, I made a stop in Chicago. I had my $10,000 bonus with me, ready to buy a ring. I walked into a small jewelry store and picked out a ring set for $7,500, feeling over the moon. I rushed back to Columbus and called Julie. I wanted us to go out for dinner. During dessert, I asked her to marry me. She cried yes. Then I shared my job news. She was happy but worried about Texas's heat. I reassured her it wouldn't be that different from Ohio. We quickly prepared for the wedding and married in New York on July 4th. Our honeymoon was at the Grand Canyon. By August 1st, we were setting up our first apartment. I began my job, and Julie got work through a temp agency, hoping to find something bigger eventually. Life had its own plans, though. Just 10 months in, we were ecstatic to learn a baby was on the way. We bought a cozy Cape Cod-style house, not big, but perfect for starting our family. Then came Emily Jane, or EJ as I called her, with her strawberry blonde hair and blue eyes. She was our perfect little mix. Her grip stole my heart instantly. Things changed after EJ was born, especially our intimacy. Julie seemed to have lost interest, and discussions about it grew heated. Hoping for a boy next, I tried everything. Our doctor suggested it might be postpartum depression, while a therapist thought it was PTSD from a tough childbirth. Despite therapy, progress was slow. Eventually, I focused my love and attention on EJ, and Julie stayed home, volunteering instead of returning to work. 20 years later, though our home and jobs were great, I sensed something off. At a party, I needed to escape, using a headache as an excuse. I managed to get us home early. Alone in our room, I strategized on uncovering the truth. Julie's phone conversation from downstairs reached my ears. She mentioned not being able to return to someone named Mark because of my headache. Mark Johnson, a recent arrival to our circle with his family. Plans began forming in my head on how to deal with this newfound revelation. Emma was a bit older than EJ, yet they were still pals. She was off to Texas State University, but stayed at home to save money on dorm costs. Then there is Mark Johnson. I can't believe it, he sold tech to my business. We bought a lot from them. I'm going to get back at him, ×3, sneaked back to my room. People say revenge should be cold. I don't think so. I like quick revenge. Get it done fast before they see it coming. I had to make a plan. That's what engineers do. We see a problem, we plan to fix it. First up, I had to stay away from Julie as much as possible. Couldn't hide my anger around her now. Tomorrow, Saturday, Julie's day to help at the animal shelter. I had to be up early, not all good, but well enough. She wouldn't stay home for me. EJ, now in her last year of high school, could help if I needed. Later, Julie came in, turned on a light. I yelled out it hurt. She turned it off quick, whispered she'd sleep in another room and hoped I'd feel better. I made a sound back. Next morning, Julie checked on me, but I fell asleep again. She picked her clothes and left after telling EJ to watch me. She went to work. I got up, showered, and dressed. Downstairs, EJ was making breakfast: pancakes, eggs, bacon. Hey, Dad, Mom said you had a bad headache. Didn't think you'd be up yet. Want breakfast? Yes, please. You're amazing, EJ, she smiled, love in her eyes. She's my everything. Had to sort this mess with little trouble for her. It's her last high school year, next year college. We talked about school, boys, sports. Then I asked, chosen a college for next fall? Not sure, Dad. I want to do engineering but don't want to upset you. Why would that upset me? I asked, proud my kid wanted to follow my path. I'm thinking of MIT. Wow, our old school, that's awesome. No, Dad, MIT, I was a bit let down. It was the other MIT. Still, it's a top-notch engineering school. Could get used to it. That's great. They're one of the best. Proud to have you graduate from either. Sent in your application yet? 4 weeks ago. Hope to hear by Christmas so I can plan. I'll see if I have any contacts that can help. Thanks, Dad. After we ate, I said I had to work. Had things to do. But first, my kid. Checked the bios of all engineers in our company. None here went to MIT, but 2 in other plants did, including one boss. I knew him, would call him Monday. Now to plan my revenge on my soon-to-be ex-wife and Mark Johnson. He'd be easier. Spoke to some guys at work. Yes, on Saturdays some were from tough backgrounds, a few with pasts. Asked them who could help with a prank. They said talk to Tony. Perfect, exactly what I needed. Tony wasn't in on Saturday, so that had to wait for Monday. Made a list for Monday, speak to Ben in New Jersey for EJ, then to Tony, then HR. Check on cashing out for a lawyer. Heard horror divorce stories, wasn't going to be me. But today, had more to do. Went to the bank, left only $15,000, opened a new account and got a new credit card just for me. Paid off my old card and dropped its limit. Then called a private investigator. Needed to know Mark's schedule. Set up a Monday meet. Went to an electronics store, bought cameras and recorders. Called Julie around noon, acting normal. Sorry about last night. All good now, I forced out. She was busy at work, said she'd be late. I had hours to get my stuff done. So back home I went. Wiring the house took me 3 hours. Lucky for me, I hung out with friends all day. Teens don't stick around home much. The system worked great. I set it up to record on a new laptop hidden in the basement. No one ever visits there, not even for laundry. Julie insisted on moving it to the 2nd floor, costing a lot, all to make her happy. Now I needed to rake the leaves, hoping to be halfway done by the time she got home. Around 6, she popped out to say she was home and ask how I was. Fine, just raking leaves. Should finish by 7, I said. She offered to help after changing. Soon she joined me with her rake and we cleared the yard together. I kept quiet, not wanting her to guess anything was up. By 6:30 we were done, and she started on dinner. After a quick shower, I threw on an Ohio State University sweatshirt, curious about her reaction. Downstairs, she was setting the table. Dinner will be ready soon, she noted. Perfect timing. I went out to drag the leaf bags to the curb for Monday's pickup. 20 bags down and still more leaves. Back inside, I washed up and sat down for dinner. A simple meal, yet every little thing seemed to trigger me. I smiled and ate quietly. She talked about her busy day at the shelter. I half listened, reacting minimally. After eating, we watched TV for a bit until I excused myself to bed early, hoping to shake off a lingering headache. I was beat. Next morning, I was off to church. Julie passed this time. It had been rare since summer. At church, the sermon on forgiveness had me wrestling with my feelings toward Julie. Post-service, a friend inquired about my Halloween. I shrugged it off. EJ had mentioned a headache too, but I had other things on my mind. At home, Julie had lunch waiting. Her cooking had improved vastly since we married. I remembered the early days of questionable sandwiches. Post-lunch, she realized she forgot to cook some hamburger, but it led to a light moment between us. I then mentioned I'd check my deer blind in the woods, surprising her since I hadn't hunted in years. In Texas, the hunting season opener is a big deal. It gave me a day away, planned that evening. Went by without much happening, which was fine by me. Next day at work, I hit the ground running. Messaged Ben in New Jersey first, arranged a meeting with HR, and caught up with Tony for a private chat. Tony agreed to meet in my office, where he joked about me being the boss. Despite the jest, it was clear he respected my know-how around the place. I was pretty out of the loop when it came to work stuff, and even more in the dark about things at home. Clueless, yeah, that was me. But then I hit up Tony. I needed to chat about something personal, and I needed it to stay just between us. Nowhere else for real? Only if it was something huge like planning something wild would I spill. I'd even cover for you, no sweat. It's nothing too crazy, at least most folks wouldn't think so. Go on, he said. I'm listening. I'm thinking about hiring a hooker for... He jumped in before I could finish. Whoa, thought you weren't into that. It's not for me, I told Tony. It's a sort of payback for a former pal. Why get him a hooker if he's not your pal anymore? He's messing with you? No, just call it revenge. End of story. You'll get pics to hold over him? Nope, pics might happen, but not for blackmail. I need a specific kind of hooker, one who looks like the girl next door. You're looking to mess up his home life. That might happen, but what I really want is for him to catch chlamydia. Could that work by Christmas? That's rough, Tony said. But I'm impressed. Just don't make me mad. You think you can do it? Yeah, I think so. The hard part is finding a hooker okay with getting sick for a bit. I can throw in 2,000. Enough? Not sure. She'd have to stop working for a bit. Okay, how about 3,000? Toss in 1,500 for you to seal the deal. Deal. I'll get you the details later. Get your girl ready. Tony left, and I leaned back, grinning. Time for phase 2. As the go-to engineer, folks always hit me up for my take on stuff. I flipped through my contacts, looking for the right one. Then I found it XYZ Tech Company. We hardly bought from them, but that might change. I rang them, asking for a sit-down ASAP. They were thrilled. Could do it today. Happy with my plan. My CEO, Brad, popped in. Morning, he said. Morning, Brad. I was going to set up a chat with you later. Got time now? Sure, let's chat, he replied. Heard you were in this Saturday. Anything I need to know? Kind of what I want to talk about. It's personal, barely related to work. You've been with us nearly 25 years. We're family, and anything you need, just say so. I spilled the beans, asked him to keep it hush, and he agreed. Can't believe Julie did you dirty. Makes me look at my own marriage. How can I help? My ex-buddy. He's the sales guy at ABC Tech. I helped him get in here, but now I want to switch to another company, especially if they match or beat ABC's deal. That's your call, Brad said. Who you thinking of? XYZ. We've bought from them. They're solid. What do I tell ABC? Say we're not happy with their rep and XYZ promised us better deals and quicker service. That's if today's meeting goes well. I'll let you know, I said. Thanks, Brad. Feels good to have backup. Brad left. I was smiling, plans shaping up. Next step, a divorce lawyer meeting on Tuesday. Then I checked my emails. An HR message said I could drop by, went straight to it. At HR, Sherry asked what was up. Told her I needed to cash out my 401k. She warned me of the big tax hit unless I moved it to another retirement account. I knew, but my hands were tied. What do I need to do? She helped me fill out forms, still trying to change my mind. Before leaving, I asked about vacation days. 6 weeks total, she said. Perfect for my plans. I should get the cash in my new account in 10 days. The XYZ meeting went well. Brad, Mr. Smith, and the tech guys were there, asking solid questions. The XYZ rep handled it all, leaving us sure we were making the right move. After the talk, I asked Brad to wait until next Monday to speak to ABC. He agreed, giving XYZ time to prepare. Post-work, I met up with a private investigator. I needed him to tail mark and learn everything about his day-to-day life. Come Tuesday, I had a chat with my lawyer. Learning a divorce might drag on for months since we're in a no-fault state, meaning proof of cheating wasn't needed. Worse off, a divorce would hit my wallet hard. Imagine that, begging during marriage and then getting financially dinged at divorce. I told the lawyer I'd ponder over it, whether I could forgive past mistakes for my financial well-being. If Julie kept up her antics, though, I'd push for action by year-end. The lawyer also mentioned out of 3 possible judges for our case, 2 were very sympathetic and often leaned towards the woman in financial matters. If it went that way, I'd end up funding Julie's lifestyle unwillingly. Could we move past this? I deeply cared for her. If she opened up by Thanksgiving, maybe I could forgive. I'd give her chances to come clean, yet also enough rope if she chose to stray. Meanwhile, I planned to avoid intimacy since Halloween. Come Friday, Tony dropped by, asking for a chat. We nailed down the plan with a woman who'd play the part by next Friday, ensuring she'd be contagious, yet symptom-free for a while. Thanksgiving weekend would be decisive. After checking with the PI, Mark's habits were predictable: a drink at a hotel bar, post-work, then home. The week passed with endless leaf-raking. If only my neighbors weren't stealthily adding to my pile. Sunday brought church with EJ. My daughter, sensing something off, but only got busy at work as my explanation, sparing Julie any worry. Going into the holidays, lunch with Julie and EJ went as usual, the latter excited about a shopping trip. Alone at home, I hesitated but checked my laptop. Eventually, hearing Julie's half of a conversation with Mark reignited my anger. Monday, I confirmed Friday's setup with Tony at the hotel bar, painting a believable backstory. Brad, reaching out to ABC, hinted at us withdrawing our business, sending them into panic given our significant share. Promises of a new sales rep and matched quotes followed, setting the stage for a crucial Wednesday meeting with them, aiming for a better deal. This tale of intrigue, deception, and a quest for justice unfolds amid the complexities of marriage, betrayal, and the pursuit of a fair outcome rooted in love and conflict. After our chat, it was clear the boss was mad about how we'd been treated by the last sales guy. We told him how the guy acted like he ran the place and thought we'd always stick by. We did decide to keep using them, but just as a second choice. Now and then it was time to leave, so we did. I rang my private eye to tell him to hang out at the bar on the next few nights to see if Mark turned up, especially on Friday when I had another plan in mind. Plus, I wanted photos. By Thursday, Mark must have gotten a talking to. He surely was told he lost our account. That's a big dent in his pay. When I got home, I told Julie I was off to clean my rifle in the basement for the weekend hunt. Down there, I got a call from the PI. Mark was at the bar, had 3 drinks, sure signs he was worried. Back upstairs, I asked Julie about dinner. She seemed far away. I had to ask again. She said we'd order pizza. Fine by me. I said I'd get my hunting stuff ready. When the pizza came, it was just us eating. EJ was out. Julie seemed off, but I left it alone. After we ate, she asked if work was okay. She heard from Mary that Mark was talking about big changes at our place. I told her not to worry, that if something big was up, I'd know. I mentioned Mark was probably stressed about his job since they rely a lot on our business. I reassured her I'd keep an eye out at work. But we had the next day off for deer season, so it was just us engineers and maintenance crew trying to improve things. She worried about what we'd do if I lost my job. I brushed it off, said maybe she could talk to Mark. I promised I'd chat with Brad at work. She hoped I was right. Mary was worried too. Next day at work, we were all hands on deck since production was halted. Busy till about 3:00 p.m., then I checked in with my PI. He was all set for Friday. He'd rigged a room with cameras if Mark took the bait. A couple $100 can go a long way. Thanks, Bob, I said, planning to meet him after my hunt the next day. I had to prepare just in case, so I called the bank about a home equity loan. No strings attached, just in case Julie and I needed it. When I got home, Julie was still out. I checked my laptop, nothing new. Hung up my hunting gear, grabbed a beer, and just thought about life. When Julie walked in, I tried one last time to connect, suggested we spend some quality time upstairs. She wasn't up for it, said maybe after hunting. I joked about being back by 5 to avoid careless hunters. I joked about dinner knowing how she'd react. EJ came home, we had dinner, and I brought up an old cooking mishap of Julie's for a laugh. But she wasn't amused. It was just us again, watching TV, the night winding down as usual. At 8:30 p.m., I spoke up, saying I'd hit the hay so I could wake early and head into the woods at dawn. I thought, why not ask one more time? Do you want to come with? It was still early, but knowing my luck, if I slept now, I'd be wide awake at 3:00 a.m., tossing and turning. Well, no harm in trying, right? So to bed I went. Come 4:30 a.m., my alarm buzzed, and by 5 I was out the door. I found myself at Denny's, ordering a big breakfast. As I waited for my meal, my mind wandered back to the past 20 years with Julie. Where did we go wrong? How did it come to this? Could I ever forgive her? Was my love for her strong enough to get past this? When my food arrived, I barely touched it. Hunger had left me. Instead, I just sat there, lost in memories of better days. Had those days now passed us by? An hour and a half later, with most of my food still on the plate, I stood up, left a 20 bill on the table, and left. I drove aimlessly until I ended up by the Brazos River, looking across at the other side. I pondered over my nearly 20-year stay here. I hadn't achieved much. Never had I visited Mexico's capital. This needed to change. I promised myself to visit every state capital and to explore Europe with my free time soon to increase. It seemed doable. Before long, I headed to work. Walking in, I saw the maintenance crew busy with their tasks. There was a real chance I wouldn't be around in a year's time. My marriage was on the brink, my job was unstable, and my daughter EJ would be off to college soon. There'd be nothing left here for me. I spent the morning in my office, lost in thought until it was time to leave. Even catching a glimpse of Mark's antics couldn't lift my spirits. As expected, Mark, ever the womanizer, had taken a recently unemployed housewife to our setup room. I couldn't help but wonder if karma would catch up with him. Immediately, in 2 weeks Thanksgiving weekend, I planned to be out of town on an emergency. Mark's method was always the same: listen, empathize, then offer a comforting solution. Watching them, bitterness filled me. I had once been Julie's protector, her knight. Now those memories brought only pain. Their act was convincing. She deserved an award for her performance. As they kissed, the urgency between them was palpable. Mark was praising her skills, completely unaware of the act. Their encounter escalated until she skillfully made her escape, leaving Mark frustrated. Bob and I watched the playback, sharing a laugh at Mark's expense. He got what he deserved, Bob noted. In this tale, heartache and revenge twisted together in the life of a man coming to terms with the end of his marriage and the change it would bring. It's a reminder of how complex relationships can be, and the lengths some will go to find solace or retribution. No way, more than you think, Bob, way more, I told him. I took the DVD, said thanks to Bob, and told him to send the final bill. Don't need your help no more, got what I need. Got back home around 4. Julie was busy cleaning, changing beds, and washing clothes. Wasn't busy at the shelter today? Didn't think you'd be back till 5. Was going to start dinner. Did you get Bambi? She joked. Nope, but saw a deer. Tried to get close, it got mad and ran off. Glad to hear that, she said. So was I. It was something to see, I laughed. Going to clean my gun and store it for next year. You're not going back out? Still got 2 weeks, she wondered. Nah, not feeling it. Maybe next year. Went downstairs, put my gun away, didn't use it, so no cleaning needed. Took a moment to check my laptop for anything new, saw her getting ready for work, then coming back at noon. Maybe it was a slow day at the shelter, or she had plans knowing I'd be out for hours. She made a phone call, wondered who she was talking to. Hey, Mary, she said. It hit me how she didn't seem guilty, chatting with Mary like nothing was wrong. Made me wonder if Mary knew about it all. Heard her talk about a slow day, not focused because of what Mary said about Mark and his job. In my head, I figured she was really thinking about Mark. Listened more. No, he's out probably missing shots at deer. Not bothered by it. He misses a lot, she said. Hit me hard, calling me clueless. Maybe at home, but not at work. She continued the chat. Yeah, might hit the leaves again. Love nature, but it's a pain. Might just move to a condo next. Changed into my old college sweats, hoping to remind her of better times. Wondered if she'd feel guilty for what she's doing. Could I forgive her and keep this going? Wasn't sure. Kept thinking, why her with Mark? Been months since we were close. Went outside, needed to think. If she talked before Thanksgiving, maybe I'd forgive her, but lots to fix, especially trust in our close moments. After bagging leaves, went in. Julie asked if I wanted anything from the store. Just a loyal wife, I muttered, but just said, no thanks out loud. Checked the laptop again when she left. Heard her talking to Mark. Hey, lover, just thinking of you, she said. Chat went on till she thought I was back. This chat confirmed it was my marriage done. Nearly 20 years, and what do we have? Thought of our daughter, the best part of us. Next morning at work, asked about the new guy from XYZ. The ladies liked him, said the last one was a creep, told them to always speak up if something's wrong, called the bank surprised by how much my house was worth, bought it when prices were low, still had good equity despite the market. Talked to Brad again, shared what the office lady said about Mr. Johnson making them uncomfortable. Brad said it wouldn't happen again. I agreed, glad to move past it. He told me Mr. Johnson was being let go today. When he said that, I told him we might need him again soon. I smiled at that thought. I didn't want to upset Mary, but even if she didn't know it, her husband was already hurting her. "Hey, Brad, can we talk about what's next for me at work? You're not leaving, are you?" He looked shocked. "I'm thinking about moving to the Toronto plant or maybe the New Jersey one, but I'd rather go to Toronto. Once my divorce is done, I'd love to come back here if that's okay with you. I think we can make it work, but I want you back," he said. I chose Toronto because I wasn't sure about having to pay alimony, and being in another country might make that harder. Also, Brad, I'd like to be let go on December 15th. I have 4 weeks of holiday and 10 personal days I want to use. Then if I go to court, it should look like I'm not working. I don't want to do anything wrong, so if I need to be fired and then rehired in Toronto, that's fine. I'll lose my place in line, but it's worth it. It'll mean Julie needs to find a job. After 20 years, I'm not sure if her degree is worth much. A lot has changed. In HR, this would be payback number 3 after the sickness and the divorce. Now, who's clueless? When I got back to my desk, I called Ben in New Jersey to ask about MIT. He said it was all set up, and she'd get her letter in a couple of weeks. Great. One more thing to tick off my list. I called MIT's office and got through to the Dean of Admissions. I told him I wanted to pay my daughter's tuition and other costs up front. He was pleased and said, "Sure. Once she's in, we'll give you the total." I thanked him and shared my contact info. Another task done. I decided to wait to talk to Brad about my Thanksgiving plans. I might use that time to see the place and look for somewhere to live. I spoke to my lawyer next. I said, if we go through with the divorce, I want her to be served on December 20th in the afternoon at our place. I asked if they could do it at that exact time. It was a Saturday, and I said I'd pay extra. They said it was possible, and just to let them know a week in advance. Then I called a flower shop. I needed to know if they could make a delivery on December 20th at a specific time. "Can you promise that?" I asked. "Yes, we can. Just give us the address and 3 days' notice, but there's an extra charge for a special trip." "That's fine," I said, adding I'd call early that week if needed. I was still unsure. Could things still change? Thanksgiving would be the deciding time. I asked them about getting 20 red roses and 1 black rose sent in a special box. They said a week's notice was enough, and they could use a paper box and make it look nice. Okay, thanks. They'll call next month with all the info. Another tick on my list. I'd send the DVD to Mary on December 20th. On Christmas, I'd email Mark a photo of himself that he wouldn't like, hoping he'd enjoy his gift. For Julie, I wanted to make a photo album of all our good times. I might seem mean, but I wanted her to feel the loss. I thought about asking EJ to go see MIT. I knew she'd miss her grandparents, but they'd likely be busy with Julie. I'd tell EJ we were leaving on the 20th, but not to tell her mom. I'd wait till after Thanksgiving to say anything. That weekend would show if our marriage could be fixed or if it was beyond saving. At lunch, I asked Brad if I could take the afternoon off. He agreed. "See you tomorrow." I'd really miss working with him. I hoped I could return soon. When I got home, Julie wasn't there. Maybe she was at work or with him. I checked the computer, no calls, so she was likely at work. Now is a good time to sort through my stuff, all the things we keep thinking we'll need someday. I started with the filing cabinet. Sure, she wouldn't notice if I sorted out old papers. I cleared out a lot of junk from 3 drawers. I left the important papers for later. Those would go in next. I found the boxes of our old photos, the ones before everything was saved digitally. So I put all those papers in the filing cabinet, thinking it would be neat for when I began that project. I figured I'd have to sift through our computer for photos to print, or maybe download them to get them printed on good paper. I wanted this to look sharp, no doubts there. Then I headed out to the garage to sort and box up my tools. Julie wouldn't spot those either. I packed them in boxes and hid them in the basement. This way, when it was time to move my stuff, it would be a simple haul upstairs, then out to the garage and into my car. Around 4:30 p.m., I decided to grill some steaks. It was chilly, but I really like fresh grilled steak. I also grilled corn and asparagus. I tossed 3 potatoes in the oven to bake, and by 5:30 both Julie and EJ were back. "You made dinner? When did you get home?" Julie asked. "Work was slow, so I left early," I told her. I knew this would make Julie worry even more. We sat down for dinner and Julie said, "I got a call from Mary. Mark lost his job today." "Lost his job," I thought to myself. More like he was fired. "That's awful," I said aloud. "What's he going to do?" "Look for a new job," she replied. "Good thing Mary is working," I added, just to nudge Julie's worries a bit more. "Are you sure your job is okay?" "You did say it was slow," she asked, nervous. "As far as I know, we're fine," I reassured her. We spent the meal listening to EJ share about her life. I treasured these moments, knowing they'd be less once I was gone. I planned to keep in touch regardless. The days passed quietly, and then it was a week before Thanksgiving. During dinner, EJ had a request. Mom, Dad, Kelly asked if I could join their family for a ski trip in Colorado over Thanksgiving, she shared timidly. "When would you leave?" "Wednesday afternoon," she said. "Well, your grandparents aren't coming till Christmas, so it's fine by me if your mom agrees," I said. The next day I spoke with Brad, my confidant. "Brad, I need your help for Thanksgiving weekend," I began. "Need time off?" he guessed. "No, I need to set up a scenario to test Julie," I explained. I wanted to create a fake emergency that would take me out of town, giving Julie the chance to show her true colors. "You think it won't work out between you two?" he asked. "If she's honest before Thanksgiving, maybe. If not, well, it's over," I said. Brad agreed to help with my plan. Driving home, part of me hoped for Julie's honesty. I truly loved her and didn't want to lose what we had. I suggested we have dinner out on Tuesday, seeing as we'd missed Thanksgiving together. EJ was excited, feeling guilty about missing Thanksgiving. I managed to book us a table at Le Petit, an upscale place, for Tuesday. It felt like a last celebration, a final good meal together, mirroring what we had before any of this turmoil began. I let EJ and Julie know we had plans at 7:30 the next night. EJ texted me right back, but it took until the afternoon to hear from Julie. I wondered what she was up to, now that Mark didn't have a job. I had a few guesses. On Monday, Julie wanted to know if I could be a job reference for Mark. I said yes, thinking I'd get calls from places wanting to hire him. I was eager to tell them what a mess he was. That Tuesday, we went out to a fancy dinner. Julie worried if we could pay for it. I told her we could afford it, wanting to treat us. We spent the evening talking about the good old times, how EJ was doing in sports and school. It was nice to remember the past together. EJ got ready for her trip to Colorado, staying with Kelly. I offered to pay Mr. Barnes for the extra cost, but he wouldn't take any money, insisting it was a gift. I gave EJ some spending money and made her promise to call me when she got back. She was curious about the news I said I'd have for her then. EJ hoped whatever was troubling me would get better, which showed how sharp she was. We got home and quickly went to bed. I stayed awake, thinking while Julie slept peacefully. The day before Thanksgiving was slow at work, as it usually is. Most left early, but I stayed until 4 since I needed to support the team. When I got home, Julie had a visitor, Mary, who was worried about her husband, Mark, feeling down and not even interested in being close. They thought finding Mark a job would help. Later, I overheard Mark planning to meet Julie when I was gone, thinking I'd be at the office. It made me more suspicious. Thanksgiving Day, we kept our lunch simple but nice. Then a work call came, pretending I needed to go to New Jersey for an emergency at work. Julie found it hard to believe, wondering why now. I explained it was urgent because of a big order we had. I had to make sure everything was perfect. I packed quickly, making sure my laptop would record anything happening at home while I was gone. Julie helped me find my things, not knowing my real plan. I packed for all occasions, making sure I was ready for anything. Julie watched me, puzzled by the amount of stuff I was taking. I pretended it was all necessary, hiding my true feelings and plans. I had to be at the factory by 6:00 a.m. Catching a flight at 2:00 a.m. wasn't for me. "Well, I'll miss you," she said. I looked back at her. Her words sounded nice, but her face didn't match. If Julie did what I thought she was doing, those words meant nothing. I tossed my bags into the car. I went back inside and asked Julie if she could drive me or if I should leave my car at the airport. Driving me meant she'd have to pick me up on Monday. She didn't like driving in Houston traffic. It was a nightmare, especially near the airport. But driving me meant I wouldn't have my car to come back early if needed. "I'll drive you. It's Thanksgiving. I want more time with you." She really was trying to make it sound sweet, I thought. "Okay, we should head out soon. What to do until then?" I gave her a look. "No time for that," she replied. "Maybe when you're back." Or maybe not, I thought. "Well, relax then," I said, grabbing a beer. I sat down, she did too, but chose a chair across from me. "Sorry I have to go, but it's important," I said. "I get it," she replied. "I'll be alone all weekend." I told her to call Mary, catch a movie, get dinner. She needed a distraction. I asked if she was helping at the shelter again. They were trying to get pets adopted out by year's end that Saturday. Sorted. What about Black Friday shopping? She wasn't interested. "Just curl up with a good book then," I suggested. "She'll find something to do," I was sure. The drive to the airport was just small talk. "Just drop me here," I said at the airport. She stopped, I got my stuff, and didn't even get a hug goodbye. A quick kiss, and she was off. We didn't say "I love you." Inside the airport, I waited, hoping maybe she'd return. She didn't. I rented a car, too expensive but necessary. I found the rental car, loaded up, and headed to a hotel near home. I wanted to watch the house, see who came and went without being too obvious. The car I got blended in. By 9:00 p.m., I drove by, no one had come. The TV was on inside, maybe Mark was staying home this Thanksgiving. I went back, called Julie at 10:00 p.m., saying I got in and was going to bed early for the early start. "Miss you," she said. "Miss you too," I said back, but I missed the person she used to be. The next day I slept in, something I hadn't done in weeks. Put on casual clothes and drove by our house. Mark's car was there. Could it be Mary's, though? I needed to check her bank for her car. If it was there, then I knew, and it was. Tomorrow I planned to sneak in while Julie was out. I spent the day seeing how Houston was slowly improving despite its issues. I didn't call Julie that evening. If she wanted to talk, she'd call. She didn't. Saturday, I slipped into our house while Julie was out, found the videos on her laptop, and took them with me to watch at work. My heart sank seeing the footage. Julie in lingerie I bought, never worn for me, her and Mark together. She never liked being close with me, but with him it was different. Her words felt like a heavy blow. I thought hard about what went wrong between us in bed. When we first got together, things were wild, and our honeymoon was just us together, non-stop. We pretty much lived on room service food. Even the first year was all about being close, sometimes more than once a day. Even when she was carrying EJ, we couldn't keep our hands off each other. But after EJ was born, things took a dive. I get that a new baby eats up time and you're tired all the time. But even when our little one had a sleep routine, the spark didn't return. I kept wondering what I did wrong to make her not want me anymore. Then I saw it on the screen. They were already going at it. He was dominating, just pounding away. "Doesn't he go hard like this?" he said between grunts. "Never," she answered. Then he switched it up, put her on her hands and knees, and went at it again. This scene felt too familiar, almost rehearsed. He was hard on her, and she was loving it, making noises I hadn't heard in 20 years. Maybe I wasn't tough enough for her. I had every angle covered her face, from the headboard camera, a shot from the closet, and an overhead view from the ceiling fan. I couldn't watch anymore. I paused, printed the evidence, and shut everything down. I guessed Mary wouldn't be too happy to see these photos. Come Monday, I'd have to speak with Brad about moving. Leaving this place would be hard. It had been a huge part of my life. Back at the hotel, thoughts flooded my mind. Julie no longer wanting me, but okay with being treated poorly by another. It hurt. I bought some beer and tried to drink away the pain. The next day, I was a mess. I realized my marriage was a lie. The only good thing was EJ. I hadn't eaten since yesterday, so I went back to the same diner. I needed to stay low for another day. While eating, I plotted my revenge. I would serve her divorce papers in the most shocking way, on Christmas, when her parents were around. The picture collage from the zip drive would be the final blow. EJ called, asking about my plans. I picked her up and she immediately knew something was wrong. "We're getting a divorce," I told her, explaining the betrayal. EJ was shocked, but understood. We couldn't pretend nothing was wrong. We agreed to act normal until I exposed everything right before her grandparents' arrival. "Can't you fix it?" she hoped. "No, honey," I sighed. "It's done." I spilled the truth because EJ knew something was up. She's smart and needed honesty. Despite everything, we'd get through this. She believes I have no clue, but I caught on last Halloween. That's when my headache hit. Who's doing it? It's not someone I know, right? Well, it'll come out soon enough. Yes, Dad, it's Mark Johnson. Does Mrs. Johnson know? Not yet, I said. Wow, Emma will be crushed. She adores her dad, she said. Yeah, she really looks up to him. No, Dad, it's like she can't get enough of him. That's why she's going to Texas State to stay close to her dad. I had no idea. This will hit her hard. Make sure you're there for her, I said. She might not want my help, Dad. It's my mom he's caught up with, right? Maybe Mr. Johnson and your mom have something real, I suggested. I'm going to start the divorce right after our Christmas, I told her. That seems harsh, Dad. I know, EJ, but it has to be before the new year. I need to do it for myself. Silence fell. Now for some good news, I said with a smile. Good news? I could use some after that shock. You're going to get a letter from MIT soon. What, really? Your dad has friends, but you earned this. I just heard early. I'm also covering your tuition, room and board, and books for 4 years. How can you afford that? She asked. That's where my friends come in. Don't worry. Just focus on studying something you love. I am going to be an engineer like you. Who's obsessed now? I joked. Dad, I love you. So keep this happy feeling for the next few weeks. Don't let your mom suspect anything, I said. What about visiting the campus on December 20th? You'll miss your grandparents for a bit. That's perfect, Dad. I'd rather not be around Mom when you tell her. I parked a bit away in a rental car so Julie wouldn't see. EJ took her things and went inside. Julie welcomed her. EJ acted perfect. Did all women deserve Oscars? Julie had fooled me too. On Monday, I spoke with my lawyer. Divorce papers would be delivered on the 20th. Then I called the florist for a delivery on the same day. I wanted 20 red roses with a black one in the center. The note would say, 20 good, 1 bad. Look under the lid. I made sure they'd drop it off right at 3:55 p.m. the next day. I paid extra for this to happen, telling the lady I couldn't tip the driver. I gave her $150 for him. Home felt good that night, and I slept deep. Woke up at 8 and started a big breakfast. EJ had coffee going, eggs, waffle mix, bacon, ham, sausage, biscuits, and gravy were on the menu. My dad used to say, "Eat up, you don't know when you'll eat again." Julie seemed to feel that one deep. After breakfast, we chilled. I planned to grill steaks at 2, with family time being key, especially around Christmas this year. We shared old Christmas stories, and it was a mix of sweet and sad feels. At 1:15, I got potatoes in a sweet casserole baking. By 2:45, steaks were sizzling on the grill. EJ joined to toss salads together while I minded the grill. Lunch was great, and we just enjoyed being together. Around 3, we started on gifts, the big ones last. My gifts were the basics, but EJ got extras from her mom and me. Then EJ got a slightly used laptop from me, ready for college. Julie gave me a box next with a new briefcase inside. My old one was ancient. I thanked her, knowing I'd use it well. Then it was Julie's turn. She found a photo album from me, starting with a pic of the algebra book that kicked off our story. It had our whole life dates, milestones, vacations, EJ's achievements, ending with an empty page saying, "More to come in 5 minutes." As EJ and I tidied up, it hit 3:54. Right then, the doorbell rang. I nudged Julie to get it, then left. The florist handed her the flower box. She found the roses, the black one, and then the card. The message stunned her. Just as she took it in, a woman walked up with papers and a card. It hit Julie hard. Divorce was all the card hinted at. She passed out. The woman dialed 911, and we left. From what I heard later, Julie was okay physically after the medics came. Her parents showed up, worried, found her shaken with divorce papers next to her, and a tale unfolded from the photos and flowers. It was a huge shock, a story pieced together from many sides, ending a chapter suddenly. Why did you do it? Her mom was lost for words, amazed by what her daughter did. Her dad picked up the box with flowers, saw the black rose, and then the card. He searched and found the lid under the coffee table. His wife saw his shock. She looked at the lid. Her eyes grew big. She turned to Julie and said, "You didn't?" Julie started to cry. They moved everything to the kitchen table. They spread it all out. The lid was flipped so no one saw the picture. Her dad pulled out papers from an envelope. As her mom said, "You both can make it through this, but you have to work hard, Julie." Then her dad said, "I don't think they can, dear." He gave her a look. He showed a paper that seemed like an old hospital bill. Then he stared at his daughter. "You had surgery to not have kids after the baby was born?" Julie's eyes popped. She yelled and fainted again. Her mom cooled her down with a wet cloth. When she woke up, she seemed lost. Her dad said, "Julie, you're my daughter and I love you, but I'm not happy with you right now. I can't believe you did this to your marriage, cheating or the surgery." He might have forgiven cheating. Women do weird things close to 40. He glanced at his wife. She looked away. "But he won't forgive you for the surgery. He wanted more kids. Remember, Marge, they tried for years. You took that chance from him. They looked over divorce papers." Her dad asked, "Is this right? Your worth seems to be about $90,000? Julie said, "No, Dad. We have investments, cash, and the house. It should be over $700,000. "Well, this paper doesn't say that. He must be hiding money. We need a lawyer to find it." And so they did. I was in court in late January. I had to leave my trip early. I stood in front of the judge with my lawyer. The lawyer told me the judge usually favors women in these cases. She asked, "Looking at your accounts from November, you had over $700,000 in everything. In your divorce papers, you claim it's about $90,000. Why the difference?" "Your Honor, $250,000 of that was for my daughter's college at MIT this fall. So we're down to $450,000. Then $300,000 went to charities we like. That's $100,000 each, leaving about $90,000. My lawyer handed her the proof. I added, "The $90,000 is a guess based on our house and other stuff we own. She keeps her car and me mine." "You sent $300,000 to charity?" asked the judge. "And did she know?" "Yes, on December 11th, I asked how much to donate. She said not $11,000. I guessed $50,000 or $75,000. She said, let's do $100,000, so I did $100,000 each to Planned Parenthood, ASPCA, and the Red Cross. I meant 100, not 100,000, my wife yelled. The judge listened. Planned Parenthood and the ASPCA were her favorites. She couldn't ask for the money back. The judge had to move on. Before anyone else spoke, I said, Your Honor, I never had an STD. Maybe ask my wife the same. Turns out she talked to Mark since my Merry Christmas email with a picture of her with someone else. The judge noted, cheating isn't why we're here. We're looking at where the money went. You paid for your child's college early. We can't make charities return the money, so he'll split the $90,000 and add $40,000 a year for her for 3 years until she finds a job. My lawyer stood. Your Honor, my client lost his job before Christmas. He's jobless, so we asked to pause support until he finds work. Okay, said the judge, support starts when he works, ends in 3 years. I smiled inside. She didn't say anything about working in another country. My lawyer asked, Your Honor? Yes, she asked. If we could end our marriage now, do both agree to this divorce? My lawyer said I did. I looked at Julie, her eyes mixed with hate and sadness. Her lawyer said she did too. She knew we couldn't fix things. The choice I made about not having more kids was too much, so it had to be. And we had to split what we earned. My lawyer said it was the quickest divorce he'd seen. So after a month walking through Europe, I started my new job in Toronto. I told them I'd stay for 3 years, maybe wanting to go back to Houston after. I also promised to work super hard to make it the best place in the company. I left my marriage with not much money, and so did she. But I could live with less. And in 15 years with smart choices, I hope to save up to $1 million. 15 years later, things didn't go as planned. I did go back to Houston after 3 years. I left the Toronto place in great shape. I came back as the boss of the plant. Brad had retired and said good things about me. Julie went back to California. She's with her parents, helping them as they get older. She went out with some guys, but nothing serious happened. I wonder if it was because of her or them. Maybe when she shared why her marriage ended, they got scared. I'd like to think that. I'm married with 2 kids. One's an engineer working in New Jersey. They did great on their internship there, liked by everyone. They got a job offer after graduating. Mary made sure Mark paid a lot in their divorce. I guess he had enough to move to Lansing and work selling used cars. I didn't keep in touch with him, but he didn't have much after Mary won big. All she needed was a lawyer. I retired, living in the small house my wife and I bought. With $2 million in the bank, I'm happy. I wish I'd made different choices earlier, but here we are. All's good. EJ teaches at MIT and lives in the Northeast. We still talk, and she's doing well. And there you go, the true story of my life. Thank you for tuning in to this roller coaster tale of betrayal and revenge. What do you think about the way he handled the situation? Would you have done the same? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more shocking stories on Infidelity Exposed.